Welcome to my garden path. This is in my backyard in a suburb of Atlanta, and I have a pretty good sized forest in the back, and I had some room. And the genesis of this started with a bunch of rocks that I had gotten from an abandoned construction site. My son suggested we make a path and line it. So as he showed me that, all the ideas started exploding. So as you can see, we feed the critters with for squirrels and the birds and bird baths and hummingbirds and all sorts of things. So we're going to walk through my path and I'll show you the fun things that we've done that are not expensive. Dug these rocks off from one of the construction sites in my neighborhood and put it here because I like that rock, the shape, the color, and the size, and I planted it there against that tree. You'll see a lot of things that grow naturally and some plantings that I put in the yard myself. But as we enter the garden, you're going to see my two little Mugglies who are really funny. That was a gift to me at Christmas, and I love them. And you can see the rocks begin to line the path, and it does have a couple of different ways that you can go, but we're going to go this way. So you'll see a pelican that I got in Panama City on a vacation from an artist who I liked a lot, and I planted him in my hydrangea because it looks like a nest, and I like that presentation. This little guy I got at the Renaissance Festival. An artist had made him, and I just think he's hilarious. So he begins my path because he's just funny. So as you come here, you see I planted ferns that I've transplanted from the back of my lot. I have hostas that I've grown from bulbs and split and spread. And some ajuga on the ground, which likes the shade and continues to do its own thing. And this little gnome, my mother-in-law painted a long time ago, and I asked her if I could have that, and she wanted to get rid of it. So he begins my path, along with my tree face, who's outgrown his eyes, and they got lost. But, you know, he can still hang there with the best of them. So as we continue through the path, you'll see a lot of interesting things. This over here is one of the bottle arts that I started with. And bottle art is what, you ask? Well, it's a cheap hobby that is fun for me. It's rebar that I found from construction sites that were left over, that was scrap that people threw away. So I dug that out and I can bend it and shape it. And then the bottles I get from the recycling center that people just throw away, and the recycling guys don't care. And I created the bottle art that I like. And this Yeti was a Christmas gift from my husband. I love him. He needs to go into the shop. He's flaking off his color and getting a little gray, so I'm going to bring him inside, and I've got some paint where I can touch him up and he can continue to look fabulous in my garden path. But as you come along here, you're still going to see other things as we go along. And that's an interesting gazing ball. Oh no, wait a minute. That's a bowling ball I found at a resale shop for $1. The base is a pot that I bought a plant in. I cut the bottom out and I created a stand for the gazing ball or a bowling ball. And I like it. It's not going to break, and it's nice colors. On the other side of the path, you'll continue to see other plantings and a different bottle art. Sometimes I buy like the red bottles at Hobby Lobby because the red are harder to come by, but blue and the greens are pretty common. And again, you'll see the ferns that I planted, an additional bottle art as we come along the path. And these two go on the side of a trellis that I've yet to get my jasmine to grow on very well. Apparently it doesn't like the shade. But I have two different bottle arts here that when I rebuild my garden bench, which is rotted to the ground, I'll have a nice setting for those. So as you come this way a little more, oh, there's another little Yeti, but he's stepping on a gnome. You may be sensing a theme here. My son likes to get me these things, and we both think they're hilarious. But I've made a Y in the path where you can go this way, or you can go this way. Again, it's all laid out by the rocks, so you can go either way. We'll show you my buddy Chuck. I've had Chuck for about 8 years, and Chuck rusted and looked kind of pathetic, and I thought I was going to throw him away. And I went, wait a minute, I can repurpose him. His nose rusted off and fell, so I got a doorknob pull for a drawer from Hobby Lobby, and I painted it black, and then I just screwed it into the metal to give him a new nose. I gave him a new paint job, and Chuck is very proud of his nose as he pokes it in the air, and he's happy to be in my path. So we'll continue to go back this way and continue with the flow of the path. So the next item is a pallet that uprights for my patio cover were delivered on, and the workman wanted to get rid of it for me. I told him, don't you touch that. I'm going to find something to do with it. And this idea came up. So it's painted white in outdoor paint, and I've scrounged tin cans from the recycling centers, and my daughter and I cut them into different shapes, painted them with Rust-Oleum, and have screwed them to the pallet. The little buckets were a gift from my son with seed packets in it and flowers, and they do really well on my pallet as well. The tin squirrel my daughter made for my husband, but I put him on the pallet because I like him and he belongs there. And all of this started from this flower that I bought at an auction for 25 cents. It was a good idea, and I thought, I can make those. So the pallet is in my path, and I like him a lot. There's the other little tree-hugging Yeti who needs to have his hair color changed as well. He's been flaking off. And yet another dinosaur eating a gnome. Very funny. And as you continue this way, again, more plantings. This path is a work in progress, and it will be forever. I don't ever want it to be finished. And again, another bottle art from bottles I scrounge or find at a flea market for $1, and just the rebar that's been abandoned. So, another gnome. He's adorable. And then this gazing ball is, again, another dollar find at a resale shop. But it won't break. It'll hold up in the weather. And it adds color to my path. And I just think it's great. There's Chuck from the side. There's his nose. He really likes it. He's happy. And as you come down this way, you'll see one of my first bottle arts that I liked. And it inspired me to continue making the others. And there's probably 10 in my backyard, but it doesn't look junky because none of them are next to each other and the yard's fairly large. So I can continue to create those and put them in here. And at times I spend money on something like this piece of artwork out of iron from an artist in Asheville, North Carolina. But I just thought the little weenie dog was so cute that he just needed to join my garden path family. And we're nearing the end, or the beginning again. As you see, there is my pelican and the beginning of my path. I hope you'd enjoyed it, and you too can make a path. It doesn't have to be expensive. It just has to be something you love.